Kayla. Welcome back to my channel. Here we talk about all things Disney as well as how to plan your Walt Disney World vacation. So if that is something that interests you, please consider subscribing and stay tuned. Alrighty kids, got another DIY one for you. So we are going to decorate some magic bands today. So if any of you follow me on my Instagram, I posted the other day about how Disney actually kind of messed up and they sent us double magic bands. So that's super exciting. Normally you're just supposed to get one for your trip, but they actually gave two of us. So I have 4 magic bands to decorate today. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so first I wanted to show you the ones that I made last time. So I'll show you Mark Allen's first. He really likes The Incredibles, so he got a red magic band, and then I basically did the little Incredible symbol on there, as well as, you know, I decorated that little Mickey too, because why not? So that one was his. And then this one was mine. I really like green, so I got a green magic band. So I just wanted to do a really just fun little Mickey themed. So I painted little Mickey on there, and then I just did little polka dots kind of all over. Super cute, very easy. And then of course I decorated the little Mickey on the back. So those were the ones that I made last time. You can kind of see how I did them. I used acrylic paint to make these, which is exactly how I'm going to make my ones today. So to start out with, I'll show you which ones I have. So the ones that we were supposed to get were these. Mine is the yellow one and Mark Allen's is the orange. I think I'm going to do like a BB8 for Mark Allen since he got the orange. I'll show you guys how I'm going to do that. Not sure yet what I'm gonna do for mine, but you'll find out. The other ones I got, these were our kind of fun surprise, were these magic bands. And this one is registered to me, this one's registered to Mark Allen. However, I don't know that I need 2 yellow magic bands, so we may end up switching the pucks in them, so that I would get the blue band and he would get the yellow band. We'll see. But I'm gonna go ahead and decorate these 2. I think this one's gonna be a Sorcerer Mickey, so that one will be fun. Okay, so as far as supplies go, really all you're gonna need is, of course, your magic bands. This is my awesome paint palette from college, so don't mind how gross that looks. And then of course you're gonna need some acrylic paint. These are what I am using. This is honestly just leftover acrylic paint that I had from my college art days. You do not have to use the fancy acrylic. You can just use, I know they have the ones that you can pick up for like a couple bucks at the art store. So but really you do want to use some sort of acrylic paint, as that is going to help it be a little bit more waterproof. We did wear our old magic bands in the pools and they held up just fine, so this should work for that. They might chip just a little bit. You can see there's just a little baby chip on little Mickey there. So these are gonna get a little wear and tear, but that's okay. Of course, the last thing you'll need are just some paint brushes. Mine are ones that have some pretty small little bristles. That way I can get into all of those fine little details. Okay, so first one I'm gonna start with is Mark Allen's orange band. Since I know what I'm doing for that, I'm gonna do a little BB8. So to start with, I'm going to make a little BB8 on the Mickey head. So I'm gonna start with white, and I'm gonna use just my little teeny tiny brush for this. So pretty easy. Get a little paint on there. So on a magic band, you have the Mickey head. So I'm gonna paint the middle, like the main head of the circle, and then I'm gonna just paint one of the ears totally white. Cool, just like that. So that is step 1, and I'm gonna let this dry completely before moving on. Okay, so now that my BB8 is completely dry, I am going to do the next step. So I need to make some orange. Sweet. So I've got my orange that I want to use. And based on how BB8 looks, he has kind of a dot in the center. And he's got a few on his sides. Something kind of like that. And then he looks like he has a little bit on his head too. Here's a close-up so you can actually see what I did. So I did a little dot in the center, 3 dots around the side, and then 1 on his head. So same thing, we're gonna let this dry totally before we do the next step. So now we need to put what goes in the middle of those little dots. So we're going to get a little bit of white, just a tiny, tiny bit. And we're going to put a very thin little layer in the center of the orange dots. There, you can kind of see that is very, very thin. It wasn't very much, so I can actually go ahead and do my next step without letting this dry completely. Okay, and literally all I am going to do is just put like almost like a little X. And then with that gray, we're also gonna do a little stripe at the bottom of his head. And then our very, very, very last step is to put his little eye, I guess, kind of. It's not an eye, but the little black dot. So we're gonna do one that's just a tiny bit larger, and then one that's just a little baby one right next to it. There you go. And that's our little tiny BB8. So cute. Mark Allen doesn't really like a lot on his magic band, so this is actually all I'm going to do to this one. I could do a lot more, but I think just because he likes stuff very, very simplistic, this one is gonna be done. Isn't that cute? I think that's adorable. I'm gonna go ahead and work on my Sorcerer Mickey. I'm gonna just pour out some black on there, and I'm going to paint basically the whole Mickey head just black. Beautiful, just like that. So same thing, we're just gonna let that dry completely before we move on to our next step on this. But while I have this and while I have the black, I'm actually gonna go and I'm gonna do the same thing to the little baby Mickey head. Okay, and there we go. There's our little baby Mickey head. So we'll just let those dry. Okay, so Sorcerer Mickey is pretty much dry. So now we need to make his little hat. So I'm just gonna use my nice deep, deep blue. And we're just gonna make him a little hat. Beautiful, very simple. Just a little triangle right there. We're gonna just leave that to dry. All right, and time to kind of almost finish Mark Allen's other band, and that is going to be to put like the stars and moons and little shapes like that all over. And pretty easy, I'm just gonna use white. I'm gonna do it kind of more of a dry brush style, so I'm not gonna have very much paint on my brush. There's all our little stars and moons on there. Now I also need to do some little baby stars and moons on his little hat. So I'm gonna do just really, really teeny tiny little baby ones. There. I don't know if you can see that with the glare. There we go. This little teeny tiny baby one. Awesome. My yellow magic band, what I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to make it not yellow. So basically what I'm gonna do is take my magic band, and I just got some blue tape, like painter's tape, and basically just kind of put it all over in sort of a triangle-ish pattern. So this is basically gonna be round one. And I think what I want to do is not paint the center puck. I think I'm going to do something different with that, but I haven't decided quite yet what I'm going to do. But basically, so I have that, and then I went ahead and mixed together some purple paint that's fairly close to one of the colors of the purple wall. And then basically I'm just going to go through and paint in these little triangles. Perfect. Now I didn't do all of them because I'm gonna do the other ones in a slightly darker color, so I'm just gonna get, oh, maybe too much, a little bit more blue paint, and I'm gonna mix it in. So I just want to make sure that those are enough of a difference. I know you can't tell from my lighting, but that's okay. You don't have to mix your own paint. I just do because I don't like buying new paint. And I'm gonna do the same thing. Sweet. So now, basically that whole thing is painted kind of 2 shades of purple. There you can kind of see the shades just a little bit better. So now I'm gonna let that dry a little bit just before I take all of the paint tape off. Okay, so I've let that dry just a little bit. It's still a little wet, so I wanna be careful, but I'm just gonna go ahead and take off all of my painter's tape very carefully. Cool, so now it looks something like this. So as you can see, we've still got a little bit of work to do, but I need to let this dry completely before I do the next step. Okay, so back to this band. So now what I need to do is kind of make these stripes look a little more like triangles. So this one I'm just gonna piece together a little bit more carefully. So I'm only gonna do parts of this at a time, so I'm not gonna do the whole thing. But basically you just wanna take, so for like this stripe, I need this to go into 2 triangles, so I'm gonna just put a piece of tape right across to the 2 points. Like so. So you can kind of see that. So that'll be 1 triangle. And so like I said, we're not gonna do the whole thing. So I'm gonna kind of skip over some of this, and I'm just gonna kind of do that same sort of thing all throughout. So now I'm gonna paint this with my little bit darker purple. Okay, so there is step 3 for my purple wall magic band. So I went ahead and took all the tape off. You want to be very, 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 very careful so you don't peel off any of the stuff that you've already painted. But this step I'm gonna let, again, just dry completely before I do our last few steps. Okay, so let's finish this guy. So he's got a few more triangles I need to fill, so I went ahead and again just kind of taped every now and again to make some more triangles, and then I'm just gonna fill those in. I'm actually going to like a lighter purple than what I've used so far. Alrighty guys, so we are almost done with this one. I just gotta fill in those last few little guys, and then we can outline it, and then this one will be done. Awesome, so the purple part is all done. So the very last thing that we need to do to this, if you've seen pictures of the Galactic Wall, Purple Wall, whatever you want to call it, it has those white lines with the little dots. So we're just going to outline this little puppy, and then I think I'm going to paint that little Mickey white as well. Okay, so I totally forgot to film this step, but basically all I did was I outlined all of the triangles with white, and then every kind of now and then I put a little dot here and there. So that finishes our Galactic Purple Wall magic band. I like how this turned out. This was cool. Okay, so for this one, I think what I'm gonna do is make it a flower and garden themed magic band. So I'm gonna put just some fun little flowers all over this one. So first I need some pink. So I'm just gonna make my pink color. Okay, so I think I'm gonna start with Mickey and make him a flower. So we're gonna leave the middle of his head yellow, and then we're gonna kind of make the rest of it the flower. So I'm gonna just make my little petals. Okay, so there's step one of my petals. I'm gonna do a little bit darker pink now for the second layer of petals. Cool, so there is round two. So, and then I'm gonna do my last layer of petals with my darkest pink, so just a little bit darker. Okay, so here is kind of the beginning of my flower. I'm gonna do a little bit more to this, but I need to let it dry before I do any more layers on top of it. So now what I'm gonna do a few more flowers, just kind of around. So to make these flowers, I'm doing this with just a really dry brush. I'm just very loosely just stenciling out some different flower patterns all the way throughout. Fun. Okay, so this is another one so this is kind of almost done. I want to put some leaves and things on there, but I'm gonna let this dry first before I keep going on it. Time to finish this band. So I got my green paint, and I'm gonna just kind of basically do like little viney designs all the way through this. So pretty. Okay, and the last thing I think I want to do is I want to do some just like little baby dots in there. Probably green. I might do like a little bit of a darker green, just some little dots throughout. Beautiful. So this guy is totally done. I really like how this one turned out. I thought this was pretty cool. So this will be fun to wear with my flower and garden day outfit. Yay, we finished them! All right, so I know that was a long process, but you know, art is best done when you take your time. But I'm very excited how these turned out. What do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments below which one was your favorite or how you guys like to decorate your magic band. I'll give you one more look at these beauties. Yeah, I like them. They're so fun. I'm excited to wear them. So if you enjoyed this DIY video, please make sure that you give me a big thumbs up. And if you like me, please consider subscribing. And if you do subscribe, make sure you hit that little bell notification next to the subscribe button. That way you're notified every time I upload new videos. Alrighty guys, we'll see you next time. Bye!